Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gathering of Gachas, the only podcast that focuses exclusively on the games your parents don't want you to play. I'm Galen, the SoundGuy Firestone.
I'm Ranakel.
I'm Dez.
I'm back!
Wait, who is that?
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Kite.
Oh, man.
We have missed you, buddy.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back.
It's almost 2.5 months, 2 months solitude, damn.
It's
Yeah.
almost
Thanks.
2.5 months too long.
Yeah, too
and
long
given
indeed.
Given what months these have been, it's pretty much like 3 years.
Yeah, I know, right? It feels like forever.
Might
Oh,
as well
man.
be.
Yeah. Oh, and, well, I got some tools back here. Thanks to Galen and
Dez.
Dez for providing me these awesome headphones that's supposed to
Happy to help
be
out.
that was supposed to be delivered during my birthday, but when lockdown happened, it took me like 2 months to get it.
Yeah, they were supposed to have been delivered months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally when all of this first started.
Basically, the headphones hit the worst possible timing. We
Yeah.
ended up taking almost a month in general off of the podcast just because my mental state couldn't hack it.
And most of my tools went dead in
Yeah,
general.
but
I'm still living, and
But
all
not
going
anymore.
fine until I
Yes.
got the headphones in the mail, which is hooray!
yeah, that was just yesterday or the day before. That was not very long ago now. That was very
Yeah,
recently from
It's-
recording.
it's still good as new. Well, it's still pretty new.
I would say it is new.
That sounds
Yeah.
pretty
But we're
new.
still rebuilding slowly the podcast away from the cursed grounds.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's good to have the old dynamic back. I'm gonna just say that
Yeah.
loud and clear.
Yeah, I know. I know everybody else missed me, and I did miss the hour anniversary episode, which
We really wanted to have you for that.
Yeah.
that's the problem.
Well, we can make up for it
Known
today.
that they would have, if we'd known that they would have arrived this soon after it, we might have just waited on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
unfortunately, the previous week around that was also hell.
yeah.
We
There
had
was
a
just no way to.
major-
There was just no
there
way
was-
to anticipate that.
No,
There was
no,
a
no.
major
Let-
power outage. It was
Let's
a major
look at the positive thing. It will make the second anniversary even more special.
Of
Darn
course.
right.
Of course.
Oh.
Boy.
And with that, let's go ahead and dive into the FFBE recap of the week. Let's get back
Yep.
to normal around here.
FFBE, we're in the middle of the second batch of esper units.
Yay!
Which are some nice pairs. 5 of them to be exact. We
Yes.
already have out at time of recording Mystical Ice Lasswell, which is Lasswell and Shiva. Hollowed Aegis Charlotte, which is Charlotte and Alexander. And this week we have Odin Raegen.
War
we have
Hero Raegen.
Yes, Tetrasulfide Physalis. I
For
think
Winds
it's Physalis
Physalis.
Yeah, of the 4 winds. And Fenrir Edel, which is the 3 unit.
Untamed Wolf Edel.
Yeah, literally the only one I care about is Charlotte. Sorry.
Oh boy.
Fair.
It's
So
the only
let's-
one that makes sense. It's actually kind of optimized.
I mean, Odin Raegen isn't too bad.
You know what? Odin
thematically.
Raegen isn't too bad. You're right. That's correct. Ideally, it would be
Yeah.
Odin Lasswell instead of, God forbid, Lasswell having his own identity.
Or any character but Rain having his own identity. But
Pretty much.
Enough grumbling for now. Let's talk about the units briefly but nicely. So, Lasswell. He is an absolute mirror of equity chainer with ice element surprising exactly nobody.
Yeah, that sounds pretty on brand.
Mhm.
He also has wind though.
That's also fairly on brand.
I mean,
Wasn't
he also
Icy
had
Wind
that
kind of his
with-
usual?
Normal, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He has that on most of his alternate versions, I think.
But we still have to precise this because units having their obvious element isn't always obvious. Cough, cough, idle, cough, cough. But yeah, he's the pretty expected absolute mirror of equity unit, which means that it's not just one skill you spam, but you have to fire like half of his kit, making crazy branching trees to reach the optimal amount of damage for this one skill. So bit of a setup, but some solid damage, especially since he's been buffed in global.
Oh, good for him.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's mostly length of cooldowns and some modifiers.
His
Nothing too
TMR
fancy.
is actually really good.
Yes.
Like
His
just...
TMR is a hat with 48 attack, which is pretty huge.
Yeah.
40 magic just for style points.
Style points and hybrids.
Yeah, and then you have the ice resistance, 30%, and 30% katana attack.
Yeah, that's actually really nice. His STMR is also pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which was to be expected.
Now-
I mean, 50% dragon killer, ice resistance, and 56 attack is good.
Now, I'm
Good.
seeing on his... I'm seeing an actual, like, almost STMR quality weapon on his, like, list over here. What are these weapons? Where do you get them?
You get them through the event. That's the same as last time. The weapons meant to showcase the enhancement weapons thing.
Got it.
Because there's a new section in crafting where you can enhance weapons, and you use materials and the base weapons to get plus and plus quality skills, which are pretty good. We already had a badge last time, and now we have this badge for every new unit as well.
Yep.
And it's notable for two things, both related to Steel Castle or the similar events. Because if you enhance the base weapon and then with Steel Castle to get them rare modifiers, and then you craft the superior weapons, you keep the enhancement you had from Steel Castle.
Oh, that is
Nice.
interesting.
I like it.
Yes,
That is
That's,
a big
uh,
improvement.
exactly. Especially since Steel Castle itself had some interesting improvements as well. Like currently, the weapon enhancement event doesn't happen in the Steel Castle itself. It's related to FF14, and it happens in the Airy, which is a nice change of look and music, and you get to throw a moon at Nidhogg at the last stage.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool.
all
Nice.
of the enemies in the area are all dragon types.
Hang on. Timeout. Not timeout in the podcast, but timeout, like, for my brain.
Okay.
The Airy...
Mhm.
I know this because I played this dungeon. That's in
Yes.
Heavensward.
Yes.
But you have Y'shtola in her Shadowbringer's garb.
Yep.
Okay, so we're just dealing with timey-wimey nonsense, is what I'm understanding from Gumi.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
it's not like they brought in a scenario with this.
Yep.
That's
it's
true.
It's just there. It's just there.
But what's noteworthy about the change of scenery isn't just that it lasts for 2 weeks now, which is practical because you don't feel as much of a rush to optimize every single one of your refresh orbs.
Yeah.
The interesting point is also that you have some special modifiers you can only get in this event, which are more common than the normal WoW modifiers, and which are exclusive to some weapons.
Yeah, I'm actually
So,
seeing that as I look through now.
Yeah, for instance, you have the Uldan Falchion, which is the exclusive low-powered weapon for, I think, Thancred?
I'm pretty
Yep,
sure that's
uh,
Thancred, yeah.
Yeah, and it has some crazy rare modifiers with things like plus 60% attacks and the likes. But more relevantly, for weapons that are accessible to everyone, we have these weapons, the esper weapons, that have special enhancements, which are all 20% to the relevant stat and attack or magic, and 20% resistance to the element that the weapon represents.
That's pretty nice.
Cool.
Meaning
It's
that you
neat.
can get you Ice Demon's Katana for Lasswell, for instance, and get ideally the rare modifier, the special modifier, and then enhance the weapon fully to have a 165 attack Ice Katana with 2 great bonuses, and some specific enhancement like stat bonuses when you equip Shiva, and it's Rex Faces. It's absolutely STMR
Sounds
level.
like it.
That sounds wonderful, except for the whole, like, this is still Steel Castle, still RNG, and you're still never going to actually get anything if you actually want it.
That's me for the past 4 days. I ran
That's everyone. That's Steel Castle.
I ran Inferno Saber plus for like 9 times. I haven't seen a unique passive or a rare passive. I gave up on that one, and I gave up on that one. I had to move into another weapon, like the summer whip, the summer whip that I recently got, and the one of the Dark Visions weapons. I think Diablo's Rod.
I was very lucky with the Diablo's Rod, actually. But it's important to note that, as Kite said, we have 2 weapons that are this good, which are Lasswell's Katana and Wayne's Great Sword.
Mm-hmm.
The others aren't quite on that power level. They're only at a plus enhancement and don't have the special plus enhancement that bumps them up that much.
Yeah. And for the upgraded versions, you had to wait for the second week of the story event so that you can upgrade them to the plus and plus versions.
Yeah.
Which is still available, which is just available last week.
Exactly, but you can still get the enhancements on the weapons themselves.
Yeah, thankfully you get to keep the enhancements without even wasting your effort in upgrading it, because we had that issue before.
Yeah.
Back then,
but they've added this system because of Dark Visions, because of the Dark Ragnarok and Dark Gambetane that have 10 different upgrade levels, and you can already get the base weapon with like 30 attacks and give them the mods of your dreams.
That's like approximately 4 or 5 visions runs to get a level 10 version of that weapon.
Yeah. But it's worth it.
Pretty worth it if you don't have a weapon or a sword or a rod that is a more higher attack or magic than the usual STMRs.
Well, you show me a rod with 220 magic.
Oh, that's the Dark Gambantine, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Monster stats.
What the heck?
Yeah, anyway, Mystical Ice Lasswell is alright.
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 Glad we got that sorted.
What about Charlotte?
Charlotte, well, she has a TMR that's just, here's some tank stats, you're welcome.
I mean,
HP, defense, spirit, and light resist.
What am I supposed to say to that? No?
We have a heavy armor as a STMR that has just a tiny bit less stats than Wilhelm's STMR, which is still undefeated when it comes to war bulk for heavy armor. But it doesn't have the HP bonus. Instead, what it has is that you autocast a 30% general damage mitigation.
It's permanent.
For the party or for herself?
For herself.
Okay, that's what I figured. But I had to ask.
For herself.
Yeah, it's, I suppose, mostly useful when you're using passive provoke strats for preventive attacks.
Mm-hmm. And it's general mitigation, right?
Yeah.
Yep. It will still reduce damage from fixed type attacks. Still nice.
Exactly. Then we have her exclusive shield, which is 74 defense and spirit, and 30% ice and light, and increased Alexander bonus stats. So that's a really solid shield.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we cannot upgrade it because it's a shield. It's not a weapon.
Yeah. It's just there. And as for the unit herself, well, she's basically Bash on steroids. Because
Yep.
she has the ability to cover for both physical and magical damage.
Yep, she's one of the best multi-tanks now, as what I heard.
Yeah.
I mean, she's the newest release, so that kind of makes sense that she would be.
Fine by
One
me.
thing of note, however, is that while she can do both, she is better at physical tanking. Because her 50% full party mitigation is on her LB, which is also a physical cover.
So it's sort of the opposite of what CG Charlotte usually does.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I think she has provided machine killers, which is Alexander based.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She even has an active for Machine Killer to the whole party, which she can dual cast. She has some support Absolute Mirror of Equity chain, which is nice to get a higher chaining modifier for dark visions and things like that.
Okay.
Right.
Hooray.
And then, yeah, some barriers, some utility, provoke, a solid tanks kit.
Cool. Yeah, Charlotte and Rain are the only two that no, not the only two that make sense, but generally speaking, they're the ones that make the most sense. Like,
yeah.
Lasswell probably should have gotten Odin just because they have that whole, like, BFF relationship.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Vita should have gotten Shiva, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of
And
course.
also of note, she has a counter which heals LT MP to the whole party. I think that's worth mentioning for these occasional MP sucking full party attacks that global trails in particular love to do.
Yeah. That's actually a
kidding.
really good counter.
Nice. It's still nice. But the MP Osmos, AoE MP Drain, like what you said, yep, totally not cool. It's still nice. It's still nice to have a party MP Regen counter.
Speaking of Raegen, let's move on to Raegen. So he is not out yet as time of recording, so we don't have the detailed stats, but we do know that just like Lasswell is going to get global enhancement, and on JP, Odin Raegen was already the better of the DPS units.
Huh. Good.
So
He is.
yeah. So
And
they
for
have
the most part, and for the most part, he still is. I think. Prior to the what you call it, Neo Visions era.
We are in. No, he was still usable. Not the best, but still usable to the end of this era, I believe.
Nice.
So also an absolute mirror of equity chainer. So if you want to go hard on this banner for some reason because you have resources or something, he is a very good partner. Also of note that he's not a bad investment if you've recently started, because we've had another usable absolute mirror of equity chainer lately in Kadaj.
That's right.
Yep, the free unit from Advent Children,
Exactly.
which is one of the best free units we have so far from the series events.
Absolutely. And while Kadaj doesn't have elements matching Raegen, he does chain with Wind, which Mystical Lasswell also has. So there may be even an argument to get Lasswell, which is a little bit less powerful than Raegen, because of that, if you're just starting out, Odin Raegen has probably more long-term mileage and more war power.
Yep, because true dual-wield characters are much more of the it thing right now, due to the fact that they're trying to improve more characters that are dual-wield types.
Yeah, though I heard about a coming trail where a boss has evasion, which encourages for magic or true double hand characters.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I like having a lot of different strategies available.
Mm-hmm.
Hard agree.
You'll never run out of strategies, especially with this newly annoying Chamber of the Vengeful trial that we just had also last week.
Yeah, and as far as Odin Raegen goes, he's a more spammy character where there's less of a full setup to get the perfect modifier. You do have one major buffing skill, which costs you all of your esper orbs, actually.
Interesting.
And so you fire your Suntex again, and it enhances your Odin Absolute Mirror of Equity.
Huh.
Which is a nice way to do things, given the flavor of the character.
I'm inclined to agree with that.
And also 150% dragon and undead healers. We like those.
Killers are always good. That's free damage.
That's what Odin is. Undead and dragon killers.
Well, that makes sense. That's what, yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh yeah, and of course his TMR and SCMR are really good.
How do you
TMR
pronounce his STMR?
I would pronounce it Atrisr. A-T-R-I-T-H-R.
Sure.
I
Wow,
thought I spoke it as Adithir. It's probably my imagination.
I pronounce it, here's a very good sword with 50% innate dual wielding bonus.
Yep. That's about right.
Yeah,
That's
that
about
is
right.
a sword. I thought
Also,
that'd be a katana for some reason.
also his TMR is basically his old Sworn Six Pride Dark, but instead of an Albefield modifier, it's a dual wielding attack bonus. Only 25%, but we take those.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Still doable.
Exactly. Then we have Tetrasulfide Physalis.
Which, I'm gonna say this. She has an unusual equipment affinity for a mage.
Yeah, we are not all that used to gun mages.
God mages, projectile. Oh, wait, we got Ace. Never mind. Yeah,
Yeah, I've got 10 of Ace, in fact.
What the heck is this build?
Yeah, so her SCMR is pretty much the only usable weapon for her if you want to take full profit of her passives, because it's a 180 magic gun.
Yeah, I can see that.
then again, she has an unusual affinity that is not that common for mages.
Yeah, no,
Common for
especially
mages.
if you consider her other weapon mastery, which is spears. Thankfully for this one, the spear you actually get from the event, it's her plus weapon.
Yeah. You can also upgrade it as well for better stats. Except that Spears
Exactly.
has the attack and HP modifier for rare.
Yeah, and Gant has pure attack modifiers for our.
So she
I guess
sounds
this means
actually bad.
she isn't.
Okay.
In fact, she's really good and the best mage in the game when she'll release.
So she's just super hard to gear is just all there is to that.
She's just super hard to gear because she cannot equip robes, she cannot equip rods, the usual mage equipment.
Yeah, her weapon options are daggers, spears, throwing weapons, and guns.
It's the same as the original Physalis.
Yeah.
But I left something on the Discord on how I build her, and that's how it is. It doesn't have her other stuff. I mean,
it's There are options. She's not impossible to give, but it's definitely one of the situations where if you want her to be as good as can be, you'll have to either find a way to have her equip rods, for instance, with AIKT's STMR.
Right.
Or Croa's TMR for the good one, the decent one, since not all of us have the limited time units. So
Exactly. I have one. I could technically awaken it and only prism it and STMR Moogle it, but I don't plan to pull for Tetra Physalis.
I actually
because
have
I'm taking
some of the equipment that I've been posted on that build, except for
I
the ones
hope
that
so.
are Japanese exclusive for now. And I'm still looking for that one Malphasi, which is still hiding. But what does Physalis have again? What kind of stuff does she has?
Well, it's interesting because I've just checked the news again, and she isn't indicated as having a global upgrade. But in JP, she had Mystic Cross, so I guess the change is from Mystic Cross to Chaos Wave Awakened.
Unless they leave it as Mystic Cross and completely screw her over.
Yeah, that's also a possibility. I don't like that possibility and don't want to consider it, but the chance is not zero. But yeah, she has esper gauge fill. She has good modifiers for water and wind magic training. And that's pretty much it. She has solid mods, and that's all we ask, really.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I will say, though, triple cast is a bit unusual for mage. And it's funny because Bahamut Fina was like that as well. A double cast mage with an unlockable triple cast, but crazy high mods to compensate. Which is good for the numbers game, but it kinda homogenizes the physical and magic damage dealers. Not sure like that.
Well, it does depend on the unit. I mean, Fina has like super crazy modifiers for a mage.
Oh yeah, no, they're good. I don't say they're bad. I say they are getting closer to some homogenization.
Yeah. Yep, it is.
Now then, as for Edel, the free unit that everybody will get.
Okay.
So, as far as her TMR and STMR go, the free hat is nice, no single defensive stat, but 45 attack is pretty much Precious Happy, now for free.
Perfect.
Yeah, and there's also this random increased resistance to attack breaks by 50%, which is weird.
That does sound weird.
As for STMR, it's a materia with 35% HP and MP, we like that. 30% Fenrir bonus stats, especially the hybrid units are going to appreciate that. And an auto and attack self buff, which we don't care about.
We don't care about. Yeah, I know.
It's very much a free STMR, but 35% HP is definitely something nice to have in the back pocket.
It's lit. It's lit.
And as for the unit herself, she has some Aerial Ray move. I mean, she has an Aerial Ray move, which is always nice if you're just trying to build a chain to use a finisher for Dark Visions.
Yep.
But aside from that, she's mostly wind and fire elemental status sway chainer, which I still cannot comprehend and will never not be mad about.
It's still weird because Fenrir is ice and dark.
Yeah, and Edel is earth and dark. She does have at least one part of her identity that's kind of intact, which is the fact she has a big cooldown on that takes a long time to charge.
Okay.
How many turns?
And it 5. And it also randomly has a 74% defense break for 1 turn attached. But the break happens before the damage.
Okay, that's good. Nice.
Yeah. I think and as far as utility, she has absolutely nothing, but she can sustain herself thanks to her turn 1 cooldown that unlocks her triple cast, and also give her full health regen and full MP regen for 10,000 turns.
10,000 turns!
Well, 9,999 to be exact.
Close enough.
Yeah,
That is...
still a permanent,
Yeah.
but
So
Like, I don't know what
she's
battle you could be on where you possibly overcome that turn limit. But then I assume
Yeah.
you just reactivate her ability at that point.
Yeah. Especially since it sees on a 10-turn cooldown.
Although, to be perfectly honest with you, it sounds like you would hit memory leak issues long before you hit that hard cap.
Yeah.
Very much so. But yeah, basically, Madame Edel is a strong, independent, half-dark elf who don't need no man. Or healer.
Or healer.
It's just her and her wolf.
Okay. The story of a girl and her giant esper dog.
Exactly. At least I will say it much. I like that I finally have another option for a Stardust Ray Trainer, because I literally had no one else to chain with Edel. So I'll just chain Edel with Edel.
That's a solution.
Nice.
That is definitely a
Oh,
solution.
what I'm lying. There was this one Stardust Ray skill for Agent Olive.
That's right.
I'll
She can
still
actually
chain
chain.
Edel with Edel.
I still completely understand.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for the units. Definitely some usable DPS and some interesting... I mean, the highlight of this banner is probably Aegis Charlotte, which I am not going for because I already have a physical tank. And a very recent one.
Fair.
Fair enough.
who is it?
It's Alphonse.
Alphonse. Right.
No, there was a bit of a shenaniganery, I believe, because checking the news, there's no mention of it right now, but you said you saw something about 11 Rainbow Summon.
Yeah, I was also double checking it elsewhere, just now, because the
That's
news
correct, yeah.
because the news was just released around the time I was awake, around one hour after the game resets. But I saw the 11 Rainbow Summon news that it's supposed to be coming next week.
Well, that's weird, especially if they did put it up and put it out.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to pull that off for the meantime. But I'm really sure that it's gonna happen next week.
At least I'm pretty safe on that, since I still haven't done the monthly quest weekly missions.
Because sometimes they do make other news disappear all of a sudden without prior notice. There might be some changes.
We'll see.
We will see indeed.
About changes, we have ability awakenings that are coming.
Yep. For Akstar, Zeno, Yuraisha, and Regina. Alongside it is the latent abilities that are now available for Reberta.
Exactly.
Tell me Roberta's good. Please tell me Roberta's good.
Reberta seems to have, 100% break for her 3 elements, fire, ice, lightning.
Okay.
which is on a 5-star cooldown, which with a modifier boost and self-attack buff. The modifier boost being pretty significant. It goes up to 23 times increase for Mystic Assault.
Okay.
Then she has increased damage for her jumps and her jump attack damage, which is always good. And increased passives, including 50% to pretty much every single stat, 30% innate fire, ice, lightning resist, and passive increased modifiers by 12 times to her 3 breaths. Oh, and she also has some dual cast for specific abilities. So not her whole kit. But we are getting there.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell how good it will be, but it certainly looks like some significant buffs, so I'm all for it. Reberta is nice.
Fair enough.
As for the other, we have no information at all about Yuraisha, which was probably the most intriguing.
No information at all.
Yeah.
All right. Helpful.
No. We have Regina, which has some modifier buffs, and also modifier buffs.
And I assume some modifier buffs.
Yes.
Pure stat buffs, actually.
No, but all joking aside, one of the great things for her is, and that's something that comes from the fact that I actually use her, and now one of her biggest failing is that if you are preparing for an LB turn, which you should do every other turn, if she gets killed, which she does easily because she's made of wet tissue paper, she loses her LB damage buff. So even if she has her LB fully loaded up, she only does a third as much damage as she would normally. But now she has Master Order, which is the skill that lets her hit everybody else and remove all debuffs on her and fully charge her LB. And which is the only skill that she can't use as part of the Pentacast. And now with the Awakening +2, it gets the same LB damage modifier, meaning that she has better recovery options.
Better recovery options is good.
Exactly. Just as stat passives and true dual wield passives is good as well.
Okay.
So that's... I don't think it will be a game changer, but given Dark Visions underline how finishers have very much a use, I like that she has more of a power, especially since she still was alright.
Yeah, Regina has a weirdly long shelf life, especially for a pure finisher.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
Until...
and there's been other with that style of kit, especially since recently. But actually, Noctis was hybrid, and the 2 others were magical. So she's still pretty unique in that niche for physical damage, and will remain so until the 3rd batch of Esper unit, which will have Phoenix Drake work like that.
Oh, there's a 3rd batch?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a 3rd batch with Lakshmi Lead, Phoenix Jade, and Bahamut Dark Fina.
Wait, we already had Bahamut Fina, now we have Bahamut Dark Fina.
Yeah. Dark Bahamut Dark Fina.
So
she rides on the dragon.
So
yep, she rides on the dragon.
And so not only are these lazy, now they're even repeating themselves for maximum laziness.
Look, I think Dark Fina looks cool, literally standing on top of Bahamut.
Okay,
and she's also one of the durably most powerful units in the game when she comes out.
I mean, sure, but I'm just like, all right, fine, I'll stop fetching.
No, but I get it. You know that your sentiment is shared by a lot of people. These esper units are very divisive.
Yeah, understandably.
Now, as far as the other units, I don't really see something that really jumps at me. Akstar seems to have more sustain, with self-heal and MP refreshes on some of his skills. But aside from that, it's just modifier refreshes. Oh, no, never mind. He also has some increased recovery with triple cast unlocked on turn 1, or after a revive. So that's useful. And, in doubled LB damage. We like that.
Double LB is good?
Yeah. As for Zeno, it's interesting because they already had hit the native true dual will attack cap, so modifiers?
I mean, modifiers is just about the only thing they really can't do with him unless they do something real fancy.
Yeah. And, also double LB damage. Alright. So the Akstars now are better at LB damaging. And damaging in general. So yeah, the only real intriguing part is what they'll do with Yuraisha, because she was pretty alright, but was... in global, she really suffered because Sylvie exists.
Yeah.
It was around the time when Yuraisha appeared last year, March, and then the next month, another support came.
Who are you? I'm you, but better.
Yeah.
I mean,
and don't get me started on my Sylvie. Don't get me started on my Sylvie. Maybe next time. Yeah, we'll see how Yuraisha will go. Well, unlike most unit types, support units usually don't outclass each other. You gotta use them depending on the situation.
Yeah, and Sylvie's better in 99% of the situation, let's be honest. But
Yeah.
maybe that will change with the enhancement.
Maybe so.
We'll just see.
Alright, and I believe that's it, unless you have something else, Kite?
I don't think. I haven't been playing FFB proactively besides being casual ever since the meltdown that I didn't get Lazard or Mystina during the Valkyrie profile collaboration.
No!
I've been laying off for some time doing dailies, doing the story event, and enhancing weapons, I think.
So you've been playing?
I'm still playing, but I've suffered a really big meltdown.
Yeah, I get it. Even though I did get Lizard.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
So that is it for FFBE. Shall we move on to Fire Emblem Heroes?
Yeah, but before that, let me just do a little bit of announcement here, because I haven't been playing Fire Emblem Heroes for a while. So the last time I was around here 2 months ago, I was still playing, and then I was supposed to be saying that I had to take a break from the game for every once in a while for now until I get a new device. So here I am. I'm still updated with the...
Right, that was a technical issue.
I forgot if I did miss out on that one, so I'm just going to clarify this up for everybody that after this episode, I won't be making any updates for Fire Emblem Heroes for a very long time. But just for this very reason, I'm going to add this for the meantime about what's new for this week in the game. So they have... Hold on. Give me a sec here. Because I'm missing something. Hold on. Alright, I found it. So, they've released a new set of heroes that's coming...
No, Kate, please. Restart.
What is happening?
I mean, there was a search, so it was worth pausing, and now we're unpausing.
Okay.
So, unpause.
Unpause.
Okay.
Go.
Okay, found it. So the new units that are coming this week are new wedding characters.
Great.
It's that time of month again for Fire Emblem Heroes.
The middle of May.
Yeah. It's gonna last. Special heroes usually last for a month, but this year they're going to make bridal and groom variations for.
I would say before the specific units, I'm surprised these don't come out just for Valentine's. I thought the bridal units were supposed to be Valentine's, but we're halfway through May, so
Actually,
I guess they're really pushing the waifu aspects, aren't they?
Actually, the Valentine's event that they do every February in Fire Emblem Heroes is called Day of Devotion. That's their
getting married is getting married is kind of like the ultimate show of devotion, though.
Mm-hmm. But their usual way of showing the Day of Devotion in Fire Emblem Heroes is that they mostly care about their loved ones, their friends, other than sharing actual love. But this year it was actually different because they did release a really perfect couple for Valentine's Day last February in the form of Alm and Celica.
Yeah.
Which is the focus of Valentine's for this year in Fire Emblem Heroes, which is the characters from Shadows of Valentia. This one here, for the new wedding units, we have characters from Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn and Fire Emblem Fates.
Alright.
Let's see here. We got Nailah for Radiant Dawn, a bridal Nailah. Well, take note, she is a beast character. And then we got another beast character from Radiant Dawn. It's Rafiel. It is the first time where it is not his original appearance yet, but he's in a groom attire. He is also a beast character. And
he has wings.
Yep, he has wings. He's a Heron. And then we got Oboro from Fates in traditional Hoshido wedding attire. And we got the best prize of all. The duo of Micaiah and Sothe from Radiant Dawn, where this is actually the second colorless tome user in the game.
Alright.
They have a special dual skill, and unlike these characters that I first mentioned, dual heroes are only available for that summon banner, and they don't appear again in future banners unless they are a legendary or mythic hero release. And then the Tempest Trial character is Hinata from Fates. They just released a video about their new kits and when they're gonna come out. So if you guys are playing Fire Emblem Heroes and you're still looking forward to these new wedding characters, good luck. Good luck.
Cool.
And with that, I'm going to take a break from Fire Emblem Heroes updates after this show.
Any particular reason?
Well, my device won't hold, so I need a new device soon enough.
Okay, so it's still a technical problem, I see.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll be back eventually.
Well, I hope you get that sorted.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what is up with World Divisions? Anything new? Aside from the so-called OP esper that I've been hearing about?
Yeah, I mean, Odin is apparently good. I haven't really pulled for him. But as we said last time, he's the big human killer guy, and given the importance of PvP in this game, That's definitely something to be worth mentioning, but it's not like at his release there was much else. I mean, there was another vision card that was released in JP for New Year, but sure, we take those. But it's an SSR, so it's not quite on that level. The only content we've had in this week was definitely noteworthy because, I mean, on the plus side, it's an equipment training quest. We like those, especially since it was the first one we've had for armor. And everybody equips armor of some kind. So we want to grind a lot of those armor enhancement books.
Makes sense.
The problem was that it was also the hardest content released in the game so far by far.
Really?
Where they mention in big red brutal difficulty, level 80 characters recommended. As a reminder, our level 80 characters is fully awakened with at least limit break 3. So
Did
that's
they even
not
get their TMR?
The TMR you get automatically when you fully limit break and fully awaken a character.
Oh, I thought you had to max level them still.
No.
No?
You can have a character level 1 cuff you the TMR, you just have to throw some crystals in their mouths.
Ah, okay.
And their own charts. But yeah, so the enhancement, the equipment enhancement is very difficult and in fact I would even say pretty inaccessible for a fair amount of the player base that didn't go really hard from day one on some very specific units.
They also have equipment enhancements in this game?
It's complicated.
Because if you compare it with actual FFBE's equipment enhancement
That's
events in
not
this
the
one...
same kind of equipment enhancement. The systems are completely different, and explaining the difference would require explaining again the entire way equipment enhancements work.
So,
which
in short...
which is one of the most complicated and impenetrable systems in the game.
So in short, it's really headbanging.
Well, no, in short, the problem here isn't the equipment enhancement themselves, it's that we have our first farmable way to get armor enhanced and to give survivability to the characters, but it's lagged behind needing survivability for the characters to be able to withstand several characters casting Frozen Needles, for instance.
Ouch. So there's
To say
still a
nothing of the
possibility...
Malware, whatever.
So there's still a possibility that your party members can die there.
I literally can't farm this event. At least not without a friend unit, and even with that, it's going to be tense, and needing a friend unit means that you can't auto-farm it.
Kind of like an Arknights.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that's a bit... I'm not sure I like that. If it was... And if there was any other content, I wouldn't have minded so much, but aside from that, it's pretty much a dead week. So, not the greatest.
Yeah.
But next week, we're going to have a more normal equipment enhancement event, which has swords and axes back. And that's pretty good, because swords are still very widespread and useful. And are the kind of weapon Orlando equips. And we like our Orlandos.
We do and should.
Even if they aren't level 99. Yeah, fell short by 30 shards, and I'll have to wait for the next FFT event to have him fully leveled up. And then we're going to have a new character coming up in a couple of days as time of recording, which is Miranda. Miranda
Tell
is
us
a
more about Miranda.
With pleasure. Miranda is a water elemental Red Mage. She has
Red Mage.
Yes, she has a bold design for a Red Mage because she is mostly red, but no hat.
No, wait. That's just.
I know.
Wait.
A
Without
red
a
mage
hat?
without the nice hat? That's sacrilege.
I know, right?
Nah! I know, right? What kind of heresy is this?
Sometimes they're going in too bold a direction, I say. But let us move the appearance matters aside, even though it's a big ask. And talk about the unit herself. She is not a good DPS unit. That much
Gotta be
is
kidding me.
very clear. She is not that because, there isn't really any relevant magic swords at the moment. We do have some swords with magic typings or innate sufficient amount of magic, but they're more intended for hybrid characters, such as Gilgamesh and literally no one else.
Oh boy. So it's pretty scarce right now, aside from those equipment.
Exactly, and even then, she doesn't have the raw striking power of Lucia that's coming next, or an Orlando.
But-
So she absolutely isn't that.
But tell me, what does her TMR look like? What does her TMR look like? Is it a magic sword? Is it a hat?
Nope, it's a red jacket. So, the TMR is an armor, but I don't like to focus too much on TMRs yet, because getting a character fully awakened and fully limit broken is already a big ask, and the non-limited characters allow us to take our time, which I want to value after having done all of the hustle.
Yeah.
So even if it was a weapon, I probably wouldn't have considered it too lightly, because she also has some use, but not as a damage dealer, as I said. What she is mostly a support character. She does have some tank evasion capabilities with a provoke and increased magic evade and reduced magic damage. But
fair enough.
yeah, but her main niche is that she has amongst her sub-jobs a paladin, sure, but more relevantly time mage, meaning that you can get her and use quicken to instantly give a turn to one of your bigger, beefier units.
Ooh, quicken.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, no, that's a great utility skill to have. Shame it doesn't work in PvP because all your units are on auto and they sure ain't gonna use quicken.
Oh boy, the AI.
Yeah. So she isn't really on the forefront of the most competitive command at the time, but she does have some utility with some bigger stats and bigger side damage than the current time mages we have. I suppose my point is that she definitely isn't the kind of unit you should chase after, but she's the kind of party you look at your party roster, you have your 4 big unit, and oh yeah, there's a free slot, I guess Miranda can go in there. Even though she doesn't have a hat.
The sacrilege.
I know, right?
What kind of red mage doesn't have a hat?
I know, right?
And it's not like she's entirely unstylish. And
Well-
so I believe that's it for World of Visions.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Looking forward to the more manageable sword grind next week. Or next update, more relevantly. But let's move on for now and talk about Dissidia, Final Fantasy, Opera, Omnia, long subtitles, colon, double stop, over long subtitle.
Okay, so ever since I left the podcast temporarily, I've been playing Opera Omnia more often now, so here I am playing it again.
Yeah, I
And
guess that's your main game right now.
I'm sure you missed a lot of what's going on. So, oh boy, here I am playing the game again after a long time. Now then, let me just say first that we've got a new character that has been returned back in the game recently, and that's Sync from Type 0 as a lost chapter. You can now recruit her permanently. And among them is Snow, who got reworked and got his EX weapon debut, which makes him a more viable tank now. Hooray! Because Snow here, first he got his EX weapon ability allows him to provide an HP damage reduction for the entire party when used. Which is pretty nice because we got a lot of HP damage spamming enemies lately, and one of which is Diablo's ultimate, which is a really HP hungry guy, as you all know. And when you get his EX plus, some of his abilities, such as conversion of Brave Attack and HP Attack to their plus and plus plus versions, and a free ability used on the first turn. And as well as more spread damage with his EX ability, which is far from unusual for tanks like him. So Snow lately is becoming one of the more powerful tank characters in the game by far. As for Sync, she got her EX Plus Awakening available, which now has more buffs, more damage, and she can recover her home run swing usages up to the initial values. It's still nice.
What role is she?
Sync?
Yeah.
Sync is a damage dealer / debuffer / delayer / launcher.
Okay. Thank you.
And she still retains her personality in the game, giving people nicknames. You know her? People who play Type 0 should know it by now.
Let's not get me started in Type 0.
Yeah.
I actually liked that game.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love it, but I liked it. Really?
I hate it so damn much.
Okay. I have a weird soft spot for Type 0. I don't really know why, but I do.
The city Opera Omnia has been releasing... Opera Omnia has been releasing a lot of Type 0 characters lately. From Jack, Trey, and even Kurasame.
Kurasame exists before Seiss, and that just makes me sad.
Yeah, the only two characters that are not in the game are Seiss and Queen. Everybody else is in the game. I think only Rem, which is one of your initial characters, King, a story character from Act 1, and Seven from Act 2 are your permanently recruitable story characters from Type 0. Everybody else is either limited time events or lost chapters.
Fancy people, aren't they?
Yeah. And they're everywhere in their uniforms, of course, but Ace got the better treatment because he got the alternate costume above all people. And that's about it. Speaking of alternate costumes, Snow here got his alternate costume release as well, which is based on his patron appearance from Lightning Returns. If ever people play Lightning Returns, you should know that he is in his black suit and all that, except he's not in his seat form.
Talk about another Final Fantasy game I dislike. Lightning Returns.
I still have yet to play that.
You gotta be kidding me. Well, again, it's all you.
I maintain that the only good iteration of Snow was in World of Final Fantasy, where he was great. Because they knew and acknowledged that he was a moron and
That
treated
I
him
appreciate so much.
like that. Yes.
Well, you know him, but either way, you like him, you hate him, you hate him. So the banner for Sync, Snow, and Kate Sid are still available. Of course, it's just been released. You got your chance on summoning Sync and Snow's EX weapons. And on top of that, Sync will be the additional boosted character for the upcoming character event, which is going to be released in a couple of days, which is, of course, another Type 0 character in the form of Jack. You know him as the katana user here.
Among my least favorite characters from Type 0.
Yeah.
He was just really slow to play, and I couldn't quite figure out how to get his attacks to work. I just didn't like him very much.
One of the sneak peeks about his EX ability is that he drops his HP to 1.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And then he regens his HP over time, or you can heal him if you want to. And the boosted characters for Jack's event would be, let's see here, Jack himself, Ramza, who gets his EX plus Awakening, and Ignis.
Finally characters I like from games I enjoyed.
Which is funny, because 15 is the one I didn't like.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, the thing is, only Jack and Ramza gets their EX weapons in that banner, and Ignis doesn't. But for me in the case, because my roster is quite poor at this moment, because I recently returned last February,
I got Ignis. To catch up, right?
Yeah, I got a lot of ways to catch up, but I got Ignis with his EX weapon during the Chapter 7 banner that was released during February. I'm set for that event. Hopefully, I can get to clear.
I will say one of the things I like about Opera Omnia is the ability to multiple times cycle around and make all characters relevant again and again.
Yeah, exactly, because even though the characters you say that they die in the main story or they just don't exist at all, yep, they got their time to shine again, because everybody gets to be in the cutscenes, at least selected characters. Like in Sync's Lost Chapter. Well, at the end of the chapter, Sync, Selphie, and Aerith were making fun of Barret and Saz for some reason. And even at one point, Sync even gave nicknames to Renoa and Locke and even Leon. Leon from FF2, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
They still retain their personalities, they still retain their whatever memories they had in their home worlds. And for the most part, they do have one thing in common, of course, which is the main plot of the game itself. It's still nice. You get to use a lot of characters, you get to form your own parties, and this game is even generous in resources, and depending on the characters you like, you gotta pull on either your favorites or your meta. That's up to you. But controlling your resources is still an important thing, because we're almost nearing the end of the Chaos era.
So basically like a season end?
Nope, because in the Japanese version they're now in the Burst era, which means so
a meta change.
Mm-hmm. Because some of the protagonists and antagonists of each FF game gets their burst weapons, and of course higher difficulty content, which is, well, of course we got EX difficulty, we got Cosmos, we got Chaos difficulty. Now we got Lufenia difficulty, which is even more harder than Chaos, which is why And resources is going to be much more harder to obtain, because every new banner beginning August will now have everybody's EX weapons available only for those featured characters. it's gonna be either a hard time saving for your favorite character, or you want to catch up and want to summon again for the character that you really want. And that's almost like everybody's problem is right now. But as long as you're having fun with the game and you're trying to be careful on how much gems or tickets you spend, it's still an enjoyable thing. Co-ops is still nice. The farming on the other hand is really tiring. Take it from me, for example, during the first week of Diablo's Ultimate, I was able to master like 56 characters. Got their Diablo's summon boards mastered. That's a lot of gems tickets out there, or armor tokens. It's still really tiring to farm. You got time to farm much, and if you got other games, or of course life of course.
That's kind of farming in most gacha games, though. Like,
yeah, this one is literally
kind of boring.
Yeah, this one is literally grinding in a nutshell, because every other week there's new content, and there's also new banners. You cannot even juggle them back and forth. So that's one of the biggest headaches that I have with this game. But as long as you're enjoying it, you're good. If you got plans on your favorite characters, of course, there's the Japanese version to look forward on who's going to come out next. Anyway, Sync's Lost Chapter is available. You can get Snow's EX, just good luck. And the Diablo's Ultimate is still available for limited time Super Synergy events for another week. Good luck getting your EX weapons of your favorite characters, and of course, co-ops, grinding, etc., etc. And of course, after this episode, I'm going to be talking about more Opera Omnia than Fire Emblem Heroes for now, so stay tuned for that one on the next episode.
All right. And with that, we should probably just go ahead and get to our main topic for the day while we still have some time.
Mm-hmm.
And that is temporary story.
What is that?
Temporary story is something I was thinking about because of my time a bit away from Valkyria Anatomia. Because it's a situation where the story is certainly important and appreciated, and it's not the only one where events have the story that are important on their own, or at least entertaining and interesting enough. I'm starting to wonder if sometimes it's not a bit of a deterrent for return to have these story events that tune into each other, construct alternate storylines that are erased every couple of weeks as new events roll in.
All right. Well,
yeah, I can see that. I mean, obviously, if you're missing out on story, then especially if you're one of the people that play these games largely for the story, like Rana with Valkyrie and Tomia, then you're really missing out on kind of your main reason for being there if you happen to miss a week or two, whether that's from a vacation or, tech issues or what have you.
Yeah, exactly. And when you miss something, you obviously you are away from sometimes. You always miss something anyway, whether it's resources, units, but those can generally be farmed or caught up in some way, or there's a meta replacement of some sort. There's no meta replacement for story.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. Not at all.
And it's something that's a bit frustrating. I'm also thinking about FFBE, where currently we have some story events that are essentially epilogue and closure to a lot of the loose plot lines and end arcs of Season 2. And I imagine somebody that comes to the game later won't know at all what it is. Similarly, somebody that gets some of the units that had their own story events of Banner, there's no indication of who they are, or what they did, on things like, especially the very notable event with Jiraiya and Otohime and Kite, which was a very good story event at the time. And that's a lot of background information and things that lets you get invested in the game's continuity and invested in the characters. So there's a matter of... the continuity is the most deterring, but there's also this way to get engaged to some units, and if they come back to the forefront, say by enhancements or the likes, you don't get the investment in the character yet. For instance, I have no idea who Reberta is, for that matter. And I guess that's why I never liked her as much as some of the other players did. Because I think she had her story event, and that I never saw it. Except for Fravia.
Yeah, Fravia didn't really have much story. I just liked her design and liked her, vibe more than anything else. She wasn't, an all-time favorite, but I liked her.
And, I suppose, there's also size constraints that I understand. We couldn't archive the entire history of the past events because that would make your app swell up in size to unreasonable degrees.
I feel like, it would increase server traffic, which is the only thing I'm thinking of, but I feel like there's a way to remotely access that. Download as needed if you want to rewatch.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If there was an archival function, which there is in Valkyrie Anatomia, but only in the events you've personally seen.
Yeah.
If there was this function with all past events, I think that would alleviate a lot of the problems of that good old friend, the fear of missing out. Which is, I imagine, partly what they count on as a way to make you stay. But it's a double-edged sword, because once you're gone for longer. And that's to say nothing of the game's main story and everything in it when the game actually ends, which sometimes happen. And for Aegis, for instance, was the story any good?
No, not at all. The story was a complete waste of time and energy.
Okay, so at least that part wasn't a huge loss. Same for...
I literally don't remember any of the story. It was usually we have monsters to kill, let's do that, end of story. There weren't really any plot twists.
Same for Star Ocean and Amnesis for that matter, but eventually there's bound to be some games with good story that are going to...
all the best story in Arcanite seem to be in its events. Its actual main story is kind of blah.
Yeah, and the events are temporary.
Yeah, and I'm please let us have archives like Valkyrie Anatomia. I would love to go back and revisit some of this stuff.
Yep.
Luckily, Fire Emblem Heroes and Dissidia Opera Omnia has archives on past events.
Okay, that's cool.
That's what I'm really lucky to have at, because character events are limited time, and you miss out on the good stuff. You can try to replay it again on the archive section if you have it available, as well as on the past chapters as well, which is pretty cool.
So I guess what this section is turning into is basically a plea to implement event archive system, because some of the story is valuable to some people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Some of us are really some of us are really trying to enjoy much of the game simply just because of the story. And if they really missed out on at least one of them, whoopsie-doo.
Yeah, and even if it's not for purely reliving old memories, but sometimes, I mean, an archival system is also a practical function, I believe. For instance, let's say a story event is going to start, but you have to, for other reasons, other farms, or just because you can't access the game for a few days, you have to start it all on the last couple of days. Watching the story lengthens the playtime a lot.
Yes,
And being able to do it on your own terms, to say, I'm going to skip everything and I'm going to watch it later to understand what I just did, I think that's a quality of life, a pure and simple way to improve the player experience.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't know, in something where the story is the most interesting part, having a way to access and maintain that story is something that I'm very much for. And unfortunately, due to the ephemeral nature of ongoing events, of just games as service, anything, including gacha games, or even like ongoing games like FF14, like there's a bunch of stuff you can no longer do in that game.
For the temporary event, like the Noctis crossover can be accessed anymore. There was also an FF11 and an FF13 crossover with Lightning showing up in FF14. Sure, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
And these can't be accessed anymore, though the game does a good job at letting you rewatch cutscenes and, more recently, replay entire arcs of the game through the New Game Plus function.
Yep.
Do some of the games lately do implement archives, just like in Fire Emblem and Dissidia?
Yeah, and I would like those, extend those if possible, and less pressure means, for me at least, more pleasure when playing your game. Simple as that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's nice to be able to just, play at your own pace sometimes.
Yeah. And even if you really missed out on stuff, there's always people who would do their best archiving story, cutscenes, dialogues, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And speaking of doing things on your own time, I believe some have things to do, so this is a good point to wrap things up.
I think so as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back next week with more of the games you love to hate. And once again, at the risk of repeating myself, welcome back, Kite. It's good to have you back, buddy.
Thank you. Well, I'll see you all next week, and please stay safe, everybody.
Take care, y'all.
Have a good one, everyone.